All right, my friends, here we go. It's the grad show. This happens every Wednesday. Part of the Chess Dojo Training Program. And Hockey Chess Dude is here. Now, I miss Hockey Chess Dude. He used to be around a little bit more often. And I miss him. I miss him a lot. All right. So, Alan N, hello. And I wish I could get those other guys to do this once in a while, but I am the only one committed to the graduation stream for years. It's not like I own it, like I don't let those other guys do it. No, they just don't want to. They're lazy dudes. I'm the chosen one, that's right. Also chosen is astrology. Now, I think there might be like, there's astrology, and then this guy is like the science of That's what I'm getting from there. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I'm getting. So here's astrology. I'm going to give him a follow. 32, recently rediscovered my love of chess after 22 years. So that means he played until he was 10 and was like, I'm done. And just joined, got a nice little boost. So that's cool. That's cool. All right, I'm into it, astrology. Did you get any games so far? Let's see. No. Well, that's okay. Astrology, welcome to the dojo. Obviously, doing the work, getting some games in will be an amazing thing. Next up, we got T Sims. And T Sims, look at that line. He joined. I'm going to give him a follow. He's just flying up here. 413. Beautiful. Games? Nothing. All right. T Sims, welcome to the dojo. You're doing some good work. I can see it. The hockey stick curve from Mr. Hockey Chess Dude. That's right. Now we got DC Hansen. DC says, I'm loving the dojo. Structured learning and daily tasks are exposing me to a broader variety of things and providing a well-rounded approach to study that doesn't feel stale or repetitive. I can already tell I'm seeing the board differently and spotting things I would have easily missed in the past. The journey is just beginning, but the progress is definitely noticeable already. Well, thank you, DC Hansen. So, now does that mean he's from DC? That's just my guess. All right. And he's got some kids. And he's also got, looks like a New Year's resolution, doing some non-dojo tactics. I don't know what those are. Let's see if he's got is he in the DC club? No, that's a different one. He's in the Midwest. Maybe, he's up there in Minneapolis, it says. And he's a Hansen, so that might be indicative of his Scandinavian roots, like those Minneapolis people have got. I don't know. Now, one thing we do have to take issue with, however, is Minnesota really the Midwest? I had a debate about this once. And I don't like it. I don't like calling Minneapolis the Midwest. I understand that you would do it, but it ain't Minneapolis, my friend. It's definitely not the heart of the Midwest. Now, I had a theory that I wanted to locate the absolute epicenter of the Midwest. Let me see if I came up with it. If I'm remembering what my epicenter. No, that wasn't it. What did I feel was the epicenter of the Midwest? I would say like Champaign, Illinois is a good candidate. That's a good candidate for Midwest. Springfield, Illinois, Peoria. You could head off. You could maybe talk a little bit about Iowa, right? That's the Midwest. Minneapolis, bruv. That's way over there. And they got the Scandinavian roots things. They're a different people. They're just a different people. Anyways, okay. So here we go. Here's his DC ads. Does he got some games? He does have some games. This is a recent one that he played against pathway HS. And now we understand it's not DC, it's Daniel. So first, we'll like mark this as reviewed, and we're going to put this, oh. Well, it's the lecture we do every time here. And that is, my friends, you be moving too fast. All right, let's give him the lecture, Jesse. Give him the standard lecture. All right, the standard lecture is, to make 1,000, there are 3 things you need to do. Number 1, you need a grip on the board. We got these new live classes. I've been doing a class every Friday this month, focusing on developing board visualization. So that's just being able to see what square controls what. Kind of an interesting class. It's been fun. You need that grip on the board. It comes with some experience, even if you don't train it specifically. Number 2, you need to use time on the clock. Your mind will not grow if you do not use your time on the clock. And obviously, from a competitive standpoint, if you don't use your time, you're just not playing. And you will face many people on your journey who also do not take their time. So you have to be good at playing these chumps online who don't take their time. They are victims. They are how you get your rating points, by just beating them again and again. And third, developing your pieces, developing your coconuts. That's the level of importance and also the level of difficulty. It's easiest to learn to develop your pieces, hardest to get a grip on the board. All right, here we go. You will hang less pieces as well if you take your time. Good move. Good move. Not the greatest. Why are we taking that thing? I don't know. D2. Okay. At some point, White could have played Queen G3 and annoyed us pretty good. Now C5 comes. White says, I don't care about nothing. And he castles. Looks like a mistake to me. He's got other moves. Queen G3 comes to mind. That looks like he's just hanging stuff. Good. 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 Thank you. Oh, now we're just winning easily. So notice this. Well, notice this, a lot of times I will do a way of looking at the board where we're seeing the annotations. These annotations are fine. But notice it's I kept time open because we needed to see it. The most important feature of this game for both players is that neither of them is really thinking. Terrible. Good. Thank you. It's just thank you all day long. Good. Good. Just take it all. Just take it all, my friend. I don't know what he's doing. Good. Fine. There we go. Nice and simple. Yeah, nice and simple. Thank you very much. Okay, so good, Daniel. As I said, I think the most important thing for you right now is learning to take your time a little bit. All right, well done. Next up, we got pawn to pawn. And pawn to pawn is also on the second graduation here. And yeah, I don't remember the name, but I must have gone over a different graduation earlier. But pawn to pawn, you are in the wrong cohort. You are definitely in the wrong cohort, okay? That's probably why I don't remember. Yeah, you should be in the 1,000 cohort at least. Or if you wanted to use your USCF, you'd be in the 700 to 800 cohort, you know, something, yeah, 700 to 800 cohort. So put yourself in the right one, pawn to pawn. Next up, we have John Balboa. Doing my best to stay active on my training plan. Happy that I've managed to jump up into the next cohort. The studying continues. Well, beautiful. So here's John. We're going to give him a follow. It looks like this is his second graduation, but it's just like it just went bam, bam. And he made it to 501. Great. John, tell us something about yourself. Do we got any games? We got a game here. This is against Robert Downs. So this is not annotated. Let's just see if the other one's annotated. No. Okay, so Mr. Balboa, we need some annotations from your games, but it looks like you have a good start to the dojo. Don't feel bad about it. It's oftentimes the hardest first step to make is analyzing your games. The Blind Bandits here. Cool. One thing, actually, I'll try to sell you guys on, literally, is we have this new feature with the live classes, the Blind Bandits in there, and it's called the Game and Profile Review. If you do the Game and Profile Review, you also have access to the lectures, and I mentioned the board visualization lecture. We have loads of others. But the Game and Profile Review, I think, is the best thing we have going on, where we are going to take a look every week at one person in the group's training and at least one of their games. And so you're going to get a weekly check-in for the whole group and then a deep dive on one of the members every week. They also meet amongst themselves once a week without the sensei to talk about the game they're going to look at, their assumptions about the positions, how their training's going, all of that. So especially if you don't feel like you have a handle on annotating your games, it's a beautiful place where you're going to get some help from people at your level and then a title player to look at those annotations. And Blind Bandit's in the chat and he agrees. That's good to hear. Okay, so let's continue. And this is Karma Portrait. Karma Portrait did a lot of work to get there. Let's see what's going on here. He says chess is hard. I'm going to give him a follow for that. It is hard. Now, he stopped being religious about doing his heat map here. And that's a little sad for us. But he is going up. He's got any clubs? He should be in the Chess is Hard club, but that's also the Murder Club. Now, hold on. Hold on, Murder Club. The Murder Club is a club for people who want to meet up early in the morning and train. We may move training days around a bit, but usually I'm expecting it to be a Thursday or a Friday. I'm a little worried about this Murder Club. I've never been scared of a club before. I don't know. I don't know, Murder Club. I don't know. Scares me, man. They meet at 2 a.m. for Blind Bandit. I'm not going to join this club, though, dude. I'm worried, the feds will find me or something. I don't know. I don't feel good about no Murder Club. All right, let's look at Karma's games here. No games. Now, look, my friends, please put it in the My Games. Look, he's put it all in this other weird folder. Put it in the My Games, please. All right, here's Monsieur TT. Open Classical, Game 1. And we have a reasonable time graph. There it is. Beautiful. All right, let's go to the game review. I'm going to have to do a Jadoub here. Let's do a little Jadoub here. Oh, wait, boom. That's the Monsieur. Great. Okay. Oh, Anamaya, thank you for rating us. I've had a nice stream. We're doing here the Dojo Training Program Graduate Show, so people who've made an amazing progress in their chess training with the program, and usually we look a little bit at people's progress, what they did in their training, and then check out a game. And so here now we're looking at somebody who's just graduated into the 500, 600 cohort, and this is one of their games that we're checking out here. All right, here we go. F4, okay. A little weird, but okay. Fine. 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 And then you say it's a mistake. I fully agree. The bishop was kind of annoying there on B2. And not only that, but like now your bishop becomes amazing. Now, this move is fine, but why are we blocking our dude? Why are we blocking our dude? Weird move, blocking his bishop. Move him away. Now, I guess it's allowing his light square bishop out. He's the one who put it there, so I can't help him out, but he needed to, I guess that was just a bad move, because that's obviously a good one. I'm sure he missed that thing. And I guess castles long might be a better opportunity. But by the way, you're doing great at this point. I mean, you got a great position. Imagine castles here. I don't know where to put the knight, and then you put your queen here. You got a nice little zhuzh here. You got some zhuzh. Okay, here we go. Good move. Castles. What is he going to do? We've won a pawn. And now you say c6, and that is a double question mark. Okay. For me, a double question mark is when you really throw something away. I don't feel like you're really throwing anything away here because the knight has no real future on e7 and is eventually going to have to take on c8. Now, some weird stuff goes down. Let's go look. Bishop c4. Now, you play rook e8. Definitely d5 makes a lot of sense. And you say that's an exclam. But even here, just take it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're doing great. You're winning this game. Now, queen f6 has got to be a good move. It makes me a little scared, though, to allow queen e8 check. Right? So in this position, white should consider c3. And at the very least, we have to kind of untangle ourselves. I totally believe in the black position. Okay, so blunder, mate. Thank you so much, Ladybug. That's her 1357 prime there in the chat. Yeah. Okay, so good game, Karma Portrait. And you're going to see a lot of games like this where your opponent doesn't develop, hang some stuff, and you're going to use that for your own advantage as you continue progressing up the ladder. It'll eventually get a little harder. Okay, let's go back to the grad show. Ba-bam. And now we have Baker, who is doing a bit of work here, and you can see it there, 600 to 700. What a wavy little rating gain there, up and down, but it's definitely going long-term trend up, so that's cool. Has gained 507 points since joining the dojo. How about that? Okay, so now we got clubs. We got a Canadian up there in Toronto. And we don't have any games yet from Baker. He just joined. As we were talking about this game and profile review, if you don't feel comfortable with doing an annotation, I think that's a great place to try it out. You know, even if you just want to do it for a month, I think you would get a good sense of how to annotate your games. You would be forced to do it yourself, and of course, you'd be helping other people with their annotations. Okay, let's continue. Next up, we got Zach G. Zach says, happy to have another graduation. Have more free time lately, so I've been able to put in some more 30-plus games. I can feel the level of play getting higher. I get less easy tactics and hanging stuff to take. A lot of my wins have been grinding a 1 or 2 pawn lead. So I think I'm going to be approaching a plateau possibly soon. Be interesting to see how I'm able to power through that. Did my first Dojo Round Robin 2. And let's just mention, Dojo Round Robins, you don't have to be part of the dojo to do it. I think we charge you like a nominal $2 fee. And you play people who aren't going to be cheaters. You're going to play them some long games. So it's a beautiful resource, even if you're not part of the dojo. And this guy, Zach, says, and those games were much harder than playing the ChessCom pool, so I'll do those more often. They're generally going to take their time because they know I'm going to yell at them if they don't take their time. Couple questions, if you don't mind. 1, I seem to win almost all of my 30 games, but struggle to win my 10+5 games, and they go pretty badly. Would you say this is normal? Should I be focusing on this time control at all, or just ignore the results for now? I guess the thing to really focus on is the blunder games are there for one purpose, and that is for you to get good at having a grip on the board, not hanging stuff. That's what they're about. The longer games are the most important, and you should be thinking about going longer than 30 plus O, right? To find games that are longer than that. When the round robins, they naturally, as you go up the ladder, are going to demand that you play longer time controls. 2, I'm coming into the dojo as a complete noob to chess, basically. So my understanding of anything is just what you guys give me. I feel my positional understanding is lagging way behind relative to my tactical understanding. Is that intentional, or I shouldn't worry about that as much? Okay, on this question, good one. The speech that I gave earlier, don't know if you're here for this great speech that I did, is that to make it to 1,000, there are 3 skills that you really need to focus on. Not hanging stuff, using your time on the clock, and developing your pieces. Developing your pieces might sound obvious, but really is the basis for positional understanding, because later in the game, you want to be sensitive to poor pieces in the same way you're sensitive to undeveloped pieces. It's the same thing. So getting really good at developing your pieces will give you a sense of piece activity, which is, let's call it the cornerstone of all positional understanding. Okay, here we go. For my review game, so for now, don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about it. Focus on those 3 skills. For my review game, I put 2 into the My Games folder because I wasn't sure which you thought would be better to look at a clear loss or grinding win. If you think clear loss is better, pick the game against Baker. Okay, great. Let's go look at Zach G, who has been on a tear here. Look at that line. He's a washed dad. Now, he might have meant washed up dad, but I like the idea of a washed dad. I'm a dad too. I don't know if I'd call myself washed though, you know? I might be washed up. I don't know if I deserve to be called washed. Okay. So this is looking good. Let's pop this out. You can see his amazing heat map here. Now we got some clubs. Oh, he's in the Maryland Dojo. There it is. I'm in that one. And the Habits Bras. Oh, they got pissed at me, you guys. They got so pissed. So just briefly, I saw in the graduation show that there existed on our site this club called the Habits Bras. I think there might even be a different club that somebody created that has even more members. And those bras found that video because I just did a critique of these ridiculous habits that they have. And, you know, I just did a critique. I like the chess bras. I know them. So it wasn't like a personal thing. But they came after me, man. Their minions came into that YouTube chat section and then just started ripping me apart. Anyway, so hopefully there's no bad blood. I don't think there's bad blood between me and the chess bras. You know, it could be bad blood, though, between the dojo and the minions of the chess bras. They might really have it out for us now. I might really have blown it. Well, Michael, you can go see the video. One thing maybe we could do, actually, is have like Aman on and on the podcast. We could have a little debate about it or talk about it. Well, Blind Bandit, thank you for saying that. I don't know if they feel that way, though. They certainly felt. One person called me clickbaity and all. I just got nailed if you look at those comments. Nailed. All right, here's Zach G. I don't know which game to look at. Oh, there's a couple here. So he mentioned Baker. What was the other one he mentioned here? Vin Copy is the other one. I'm going to choose Vin Copy just because it's more recent. How about that? So we got this time graph. As is typical, we have people moving too fast. The good news is that the dojo guy played had better clock usage than the non-dojo player. Notice too that when it gets to maybe what's an endgame, we'll check it out. The people stop thinking. That's very common for what we see in the dojo. People are tired. People don't understand endgames. All right, here we go. So, fine. Okay. So he did this to avoid the fried liver. But the tricky thing here is that knight takes e5 is a problem. And the thing we should say about knight takes e4 is the real benefit of this move is that we want to whack him with tempo soon with d5. All right, so maybe a good move. And now if I was worried as black, it would be this move. All right, probably okay, knight e4. It's obviously all very spicy. That's not a developing move. Knight f6 is, of course, the safest. And that scares the bejesus out of me. That doesn't look right. And now we hung a piece. Oh, man. All right, so we're down a piece. In general, we don't want to trade when we're down. Good move. I like c6 a lot. Very nice. Good move. Poor. So he should castle. Castling that way is second best, but, you know, fix your rooks. Now, that's just a cheap threat. You should be focused on developing your pieces. Knight a6, for example. Poor move. Very nice. What is he doing, bishop f1? What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? So, two things that is very important to see. We had a question earlier about positional stuff, right? In fact, that was in fact from Zach. So Zach, look, the reason we're not going to focus too much on positional stuff yet is that you hung a piece, and that should have been decisive. And now this guy's not only going to hang a piece, but he's not sensitive to development. Like King D1, what are you doing, buddy? And what is this? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. He needs to be thinking about saving his arse from some kind of d4 and getting his people out. But bishop f1 is going the wrong direction. Blind Bandit says he's setting up the pieces for the next game. That wasn't it. Now we're going to win two pieces. Oh no. And then that's a real blunder, ef2. Okay, so Mighty Goobus, I want you to see what is the problem here. It is not that you didn't calculate something. It's that you played too fast. That's 4 seconds. ef2. 4 seconds. Oh no. All right. Now what's our prognosis here? We really made it hard on ourselves. We're d8. Okay. Fine. He's just helping you get your bishop to g6. And now you can win another pawn. You decide, I don't want to win another pawn. Boom. Boom. Check to the miserable king. Here. Okay. b3. Nobody knows what it's about. Okay. Nobody knows. Okay. Good. At least you're trying to do something. Yeah. I don't know what he's doing. So, again, they don't understand that they need to activate their pieces. Now you played rook d7. I don't like it. I want you to play rook d3 and attack him over here. I don't get that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, those are called useless pats or checks. Okay, I don't know what he's doing. I would prefer you just play g5. Let's start. Pass pawns must be pushed. Kind of weird. We made our life way too hard here. Oh, well, lordy. Oh, he just hangs the pieces. No, you ain't getting through here, son. You ain't getting through here. Oh, we don't know what to do. There, okay. Might have been a little slow, but we did it. Okay, let's stop there. Beautiful game. Whew, man. So let's just show this time graph. It definitely has everything to do with people not taking their time. All right. Let's continue. Next up, we got Saleh McBalls. Saleh. You just like me saying balls. You're just trying to set up that account just so I'd have to say it all the time. Big balls. You know I don't like saying it. Line Bandit says, if only there was an endgame fundamental class somebody could take. Saleh McBalls in the chat. So there is an endgame fundamental class you can take in these live classes. Beautiful thing, taught by I am, also WGM, Tatev Abrahamian, one of the top female players in the States, friend of the dojo, many-time member of the Olympiad team. All right, McBalls, what do you got to say? I've had quite a bit of progress the last month or so, and I think that I'm finally becoming good at chess. Still not the big tree of chess competence that I'm striving for, but now a humble sapling and no longer a seed. Oh, okay, I like that. I went from completely goofing up tactical combinations to engaging in sharp, accurate, and short calculation to see my opponent's responses and resources, then judging through that whether it's a good tactical move or not. And I went from hanging my pieces willy-nilly to having a sharper eye with those more basic blunder checking processes almost automatized. I finally got a grip on the board, as Sensei Kraai puts out. And I'm honestly very hopeful about the future. If this is the kind of change I made in a month, I'm excited to see what I can do in a year. What I want to do now is finally start putting in the hours because, believe it or not, I still haven't even played 200 games yet. And those are some rookie numbers. That's right, Saleh. McBalls. All right, let's look at McBalls. So, that's right. I remember McBalls. Okay. And yeah, McBalls is crushing. And as you can see, joined the dojo very recently, but truly is flying up. And I think probably he's going to graduate next week too. That's what it's looking like. So I think I yelled at him that we wanted to be a little bit better than Arab Dojo. I'm getting ready, almost ready to do my video on lifting heavy things. When I do that, we're gonna talk about the cardio enjoyers too. All right, here we go. McBalls. So, here we go. 218. This was just submitted. All right. So, time graph, beautiful, McBalls. Also nice that you did an increment. Very happy about that. And this is in a dojo round robin. A little bit of a weird time control in the dojo round robin. Generally, you'd get either a 30 plus 0 for the very lowest cohorts or a 30 plus 30 for the slightly higher cohorts. So here we go. Let's switch it to the game review tableau, and because the time looks good. Okay, fine. Okay, this is an interesting variation. So let's say the obvious. Black gets free movement of the pieces in exchange for having an isolated pawn. So bishop f4 may be controversial because after bishop d6, well, bishop b5 looks good. So good moves. This is a little weird, queen f3. Taking on d6 would be the default move. Check, just helping you develop, right? Thank you. Ooh, now we got to talk about that move. No, we don't. We're fine. Okay. A6. And now you decide to go back. In general, we would like to play bishop takes c6. So, as a general rule of thumb, with the isolated hanging pawns or just the isolated pawn, we want to trade and we want to fight for the dark squares. This bishop can't fight for the dark squares anyway. So bishop c6 is a little better. Fine. Not great. So, good. Now you have what we're going to call a classical position with the isolated queen pawn where you are definitely better. Fine. Probably okay. Now, just to highlight it, I like f3 better, dominating the knight and intending king f2. Fine. That's a tricky move, I guess. Okay. I don't get it either. That move doesn't make any sense. I don't know. All right, now knight e2. So one thing we want to stress. Uh-oh, my visage is all messed up over there in the corner. What happened to my visage? My visage got all messed up here. Hold on. How come what happened to my visage? All right, visage. No one even warned me before that my visage was all messed up. So, der Schachprofessor is now following. Vielen Dank, Schachprofessor. And, all right. One thing we have seen again and again is that players, once they reach an endgame, have a hard time thinking. Now, it's got to be said about McBalls. He doesn't have that much time left, but he does play this next move, knight e2, very quickly. And it was time to do a little thinking here. Bishop b3 is interesting. Bishop takes e4 looks mighty strong. Followed by king d2, e3. You know, we got some things that we're going to give him some questions. So this is just too fast. The knight's fine on d4. Good move by black. And then it would have been better, I think, to play king d6. He's going there anyway, I guess. A little frisky from him. Notice you're just going back to where you were. Now I don't know what you're doing. This is controversial because now this pawn is going to be passed. So he's playing instantly. Maybe he should have taken a little time. All right. Uh-huh. That doesn't look right. Well, actually, maybe there's a little point to that. So actually, that might be an interesting move. I don't know. It's a weird move. Now that's poor because he's going to get this g3 pawn. So you needed to take this thing. Also terrible. Good move. And then this full blunder. So, McBalls, notice the decisive feature of this level of game is that someone's always going to hang something, as he does here. And to a certain extent, I think we could say you did too, because after f4, knight f5, oh, the game is suddenly a little complicado, as they say. I don't know if you're lost here because you can play for a5, a6, but whether it's lost or not, it's going to be a little frightening here. Something like that. Not so easy. Game goes on, but I'm going too deep if we start going here. It's clear that we're scared here as white. Okay, so well done. Yeah, well done. And we're going to go back to the Grad Show template. We're going to leave the hairy McBalls and now go to Kai. Kai doesn't tell us much. Kai, tell us something about yourself. He's up there at 844, which looks great, of course. Clubs, nothing. Games, nothing. So, Kai, welcome to the dojo. No, you've been here since 2023, so maybe welcome back to the dojo. That might be what's going on. We want you to log some stuff, Kai, and we want you to put a game or two in there. Okay, so back to the front. Don't get distracted, Kai. Next up, we have a famous dojoer. Let's read what he says. I like this guy, Aotis. Aotis went to the same high school I did, Santa Fe High. Now, a lot of people say something patriotic about their high school. No, we went to a shitty high school. Aotis, though, he did better than me. He's got an interesting professorial job and stuff. And now he's on the chess quest. So let's read what he says. Feeling somewhat unmoored since the new year. Demon pride. That's right. Now, I got to just go on my little rant for Aotis here. So we went to this school. And when I was there, maybe they had already taken it down by the time Aotis was there. But when I was there in the gym, they had this magnificent demon. And he was definitely an evil-looking dude. Now, the thing about it was interesting is like somebody had done this in the 70s in the height of like, you know, some rock and roll style. Some kid had probably done this mural. But it was well done. Now, Santa Fe at that time still is a very Catholic town. A little bit of fringe religion even going on. And so the demon was controversial from the start, but therefore kind of beautiful. Long story short, they took me and Aotis' demon down, dude. They took it down. Maybe Aotis, was the demon still there when you were there, bud? Were you still there? It was a great demon. I don't know what they did with that. That was when I think about demon pride, that's all I got was that demon. And then they took him away. Okay, so he's missing the collaborative process that came with the dojo profile and game review workshops I participated in last year. Aotis, you can come back, bro. You can come back. This group that we got, it's a great group, man. It's a great group. So I'm hoping Aotis comes back. He says, to develop this in my sphere, I've tried out an IRL chess club in my city and some one-on-one coaching session, the latter with mixed effects. Knows All is amazing, though, and I would continue to work with him if he were available. That guy's got a kid. As with for my training focus, I have been working on broadening calculation without digging too deeply and knowing when calculation is not required. I've returned to more training in the Polgar book, good, especially challenging for me in what I call open water puzzles. There are a few pieces on the board, okay, open water puzzles. I still struggle with anxiety during online play and have been trying to be more regular about blunder games to normalize that feeling. What I am missing currently is a tactics resource that resonates with me. Everyone's First Chess Workbook was amazing, but I don't care for the next 2 books in the program, so I've been working through the Checkmate's Pattern Manual and Lead Chess Puzzles. Thanks again to the Dojo Senseis and the community on Discord. I hope to be joining you all in some classical tournaments soon. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I want to give a shout out. All the gaming profile reviews that I've been a part of have been amazing. But the lower level, this Morphe group, so the under 1,000 group, that's the coolest group of people I've ever seen. You know, a lot of them have got to know each other in real life, very collegial and friendly, and you know, they're all making progress too. Some of them, unfortunately, are going to have to graduate to the next level up. Okay, so Aotis is playing on Lead Chess, is making reasonable progress, 886, probably will graduate again soon. Okay, so this thing about anxiety is interesting, and I'm wondering how and if it's visible in the games that we're going to look at. Okay, Aotis' dad. This is going to be a good battle. We also have Bavarian Blunderworks, but I think we might have looked at that. So let's look at Aotis' dad. Now that's some arrows, my friend. That's what happens when you play your dad. Wait a second. I think at first I thought it was having to do with chess, but is it spelling like Aotis or something? It looks like we're actually spelling something out, man. What's going? Can someone tell me what it says? It feels like it says something. Dad. I think it spells dad, dude. It took me a long time. Well, that's pretty good, though. He's playing dad. Okay. Great. That's fun. All right. So, do we have times? Uh-oh. His dad don't use no time. His dad probably lives in Santa Fe there. They don't got any time. They got plenty of time. Okay. So, they both stopped thinking after a certain point. Let's get into it. That wasn't it. Good. You could have already played knight d4, but there's nothing wrong with bishop c5. Good. Poor, not developing. Boom, boom. And now you give him a little taste of this, which I don't like because bishop b3 would say, hey, now your knight is just a tourist, and I'm going to kick you away whenever I want. But dad makes a mistake and develops our rook and still retains the c2 issue. Great move. That's too much. Now you talk about a5, but look, what do you need to do? You need to develop your coconuts, right? So playing this or this comes to mind, right? Also, queen h4 looks pretty good. Something like that. Develop the pieces. Okay. Oh, that wasn't it. I don't think he should. I think he's got to get rid of that bishop. And now definitely you should play bishop f2. You played what we're going to call the conservative move. Aotis, you're moving too fast, buddy. You're moving too fast. You're even with... Now, maybe it's especially with your old man that you got some anxiety. I would understand it. I would understand it. Oh, he's out in Duluth. He's got plenty of time. Yellow says, let's say you gain some rating, graduate, then lose the rating again. When should you go down a cohort, and can you graduate again? If your rating goes up and it goes down, right here, that's happened to me. Once it's stabilized for a time at being down, then that's when you should go down. So, all right, bishop b6, too fast. So the main thing, the main problem that Aotis has is he's going too fast. As the song says, nothing else matters. Rook f2, good move. I don't mind queen g5. I don't mind that at all. Gives up the open file. I still don't mind it, but it is giving me a little heart attack. And you're absolutely right. The safe move is bishop e6. So check. Over here, and now you played a nice move, bishop g4. You're still firmly in control of the game, even though we gave him the file. Reasonable. Good. Good. Oh, that's a nice move. Good move. Bam! Oh, too fast, Daddy. Dad, you moved too fast. You didn't make the morning last, I'll tell you that. And he's just hanging more stuff. This one I don't... He's saying some weird stuff about... Okay, so how could you save the piece? This is actually a good little question we could ask. Is bishop g1. We don't want to give him no piece. I guess it's true, g6. So we failed to calculate. Good move from Dad. Still, it's pretty over here. Little sloppy, but you're winning so strongly here. It's hard to argue. Okay, so I think it would be cool if you continued to have battles with your dad. I think it would be really cool if you came back to the Morphe group. We miss you over there. And let's just say, from this game at least, your primary problem right now is that you're moving too fast. Okay. Exactly. And let's talk about this trick. So what he's saying in chat is that since he was moving too fast, he felt tricked or felt the compulsion to move fast. So first, a story from youth tournaments. When you go to a youth tournament, the funny thing you'll see is the kids, well, first of all, they're all just, it doesn't matter what's on the clock. If they're inexperienced, they're all going to move really quickly. So then if you're a coach, you're like, hey, Johnny, let's move a little slower this time. And if you can communicate this, what's interesting thing that's going to happen is the other kid will be across from the table and be going, hey, Johnny, move, buddy, move. Because he can't take it. The tension, he's like, I can't just sit here. I gotta be squirming around. I gotta be moving. I gotta go. And so it's a really hard thing for a kid then to not succumb to the social pressure of this animal across the board from you yelling at you to move. And likewise, if you are somebody playing, especially under 1,000, but almost any time online, you're going to be playing people who can't think. They have not developed the muscle yet for thinking. And they're going to be moving fast, and it's going to feel weird. Like sometimes they're going to have, like Aotis's dad here. Look at this clock. He's got more time at the end than he had at the beginning. So you can be like, oh no, I'm falling behind in time. I got to move fast too. All right, Aotis, thank you for being here. That's a beautiful thing. I hope you come back to the group someday. And next up, we got Scuba Man. So what does Scuba Man say? Nothing. Scuba Man joined the dojo, doing a lot of work though. Looks like maybe a New Year's resolution. He's in the Louisiana dojo. I like that. And games. We got some games. All right. So time graph, that's a little bit more reasonable. Also nice that we are the ones with the better time graph. Okay, let's hit the game review. Ba-bam. And here we go. Knight F3. Fine. You're doing great. Great. A3, poor. What are you going to face all the time? People moving too fast. Too fast, but also just not developing their coconuts. More undeveloping of coconuts. Good move. Okay. Now, C6 is the first move I'm like a little weirded out by. You just played rook E8. Why not play E5? It's getting a little weird. Now, we're going to say that's a hell of a move. Congratulations. Good move. Good move. Boom. Boom. Oh, that was sweet. Boom. All right, so you definitely have the nice position, definitely have the better development. I think that's fine. Fine. If you were going to put it there, you should have done so immediately. A little bit weird. I don't know what he's doing at all. I have no clue. Good move. Good move. Good move. I don't know. Good move. Let's take his coconut, please. Oh, okay. Queen F5 looked good to me. Still does. All right, we'll take that one. We'll do that one. We'll do that one. What is that move about? He wants to snip another pawn or something? He's just a pawn snipping machine. And now knight takes F3 looks winning. Good move. If rook E4, DE4, yeah, it looked terrible. I hope you told him welcome to the dojo. Yeah, good. Nice clean finish. And that's what we get when we don't take our time. That's what we get when we don't develop. Welcome to the dojo. All right, well done. So that was the Scuba Man. We're slowly getting up there. Oh, we got Maiden 35 up there. That's a famous dojo. Next up, we got Seg. All right, this is the famous Seg. He once did a lot of work at the end of last year, and now he's just kind of, he hasn't been doing anything, at least with his heat map is what I should say. Now here, I want there to be a thing called My Games, and that you then do those My Games. I feel like I might have already looked at this. No, I haven't. Okay, so we should have had some clock times here. I have a feeling we didn't import it correctly. In any case, we have here, I feel somewhat conflicted about this game. On the one hand, I think this is one of the best games I've played with the King's Indian. I picked this opening when I first started learning strategies against d4. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say at this level it has nothing to do with the openings. But good development. Okay, fine. Fine. Rook e8's weird. You should just play e5. Unnecessary. You could have thought you could have left it there. Could have played e4. Frisky. I don't know. d5 is played. Weird, a5. I don't understand that move. Gives him the b5 square. Could have considered a6 or queen a5. h4, maybe, as long as he develops the rook. And now you really like this move, knight g4. Okay. So, bishop d3, okay. Knight e5, good move. And now queen d2. Now I want you to see with queen d2, he's not threatening anything yet. If he plays bishop h6, you have knight takes d3. That said, what you did makes some sense. And now it would be cool if we had a good move here. You played king h7, and that's a good move. That's a very good move, rook e4. But unfortunately, he's got this. Now, you did a very fancy move, my friend. You did a hell of a move here. Dang, oh, you get some props from me here. Look at this thing. Look at this thing, what he does here. Whack! Oh, man, that is one of your nicest games. Look at that nice move. Bam! Oh, no. I guess that's his only thing. And now he's crispy critters. Check. Snip. We could argue about rook takes f2. c4 maybe, something like that. b6. All right. I mean, if you're going to allow bishop c5, I think you're playing rook takes g2. Bishop b6, I don't understand. Now, now we need some time for calculation. King g7, d6. Rook he1, king f8. I don't understand. Rook e7. And I think we're hosed now. Oh, no. Okay, so what we needed to do for our analysis, okay, is to try to figure out what we did wrong. So rook a6, maybe we're already in trouble, but we still need to say what we should have done. For example, I think rook c8, intending rook c2, is very strong. If rook c1, we can snip once and then put the rook behind it. Now, are we already toast after bishop c7? Hard to believe. Hard to believe that we're already toast. But the issue here is once he plays d6, we're going to have to play bishop d7. So in this position, we could... That's a little hard. Our rook really is dramatically misplaced. See, now I'm thinking about it forever, and you're the one. You're the one who should be thinking about it, not me. Not me, man. Here's a basic thought. Bishop d7, maybe rook e1, rook f6, rook e7, rook f2, and now if he takes, we have a perpetual. And if he goes back here, I think he gets hosed completely. So that's the kind of analysis we want to do. Okay, so congratulations. That was an amazing game. Unfortunately, it went bad. I understand how you have the mixed feelings. Okay, next up is Lola. So let's go look at what Lola's going on here. Now that, look, some of these graphs are smooth and some of them are just going up and down here. Lola, you joined back in 24, but then you haven't done nothing. So congratulations over here. Do we got some clubs? We do. Over there in the Nederlanden. And do we got my games here? Nothing. So Lola, give us some games. How many people we got in the Netherlands club? 8. I bet we have more. I bet we got more than that in there. Okay, next up, a famous dojoer, Muno. Okay, so I am now going to assume the position that I call relaxation mode. We've achieved the stage in the show where the old GM has got to put his feet up a little bit. The eyes have started to hurt. And let's just relax just a second, Jesse. I'm going to bring this beautiful keyboard onto my lap. I'm just trudging in the Doge. That's right. Okay. So, Muno says, this graduation has been a long time in the making. The heat map doesn't go back that far, but I believe that I've been in this cohort since December 24 upon establishing a non-provisional rating on Lichess. Although I don't have the cohort badges to show for it, I believe that my chess has grown significantly over the past year plus. I've moved away from online play and begun to play regular USCF OTB. In 25, I played 21 rated classical games and played in my first real weekend tournament. This year, I'd like to transition from Lichess to USCF as my primary rating for dojo purposes. I cannot say enough good things about the dojo community. I've learned so much from so many. A few folks that I'd like to specifically shout out. The coaches that have guided my journey over the past 2 years, Matt Chess and Knows All. My friend and partner sparring, Penro, and some PNW dojoers who let me pal around with them at my first weekend tournament. Showed me the ropes and were very kind. Vupashak and Large Double. To the dojo's continued success. Jesse, if possible, I'd like you to review my recent game against Laura Evelyn Chad. I will do so. Now, PNW, I'm going to go ahead and say that's Pacific Northwest. Took me a second, but I knew that Vupashak was over there, so that's what I'm guessing, Pacific Northwest. Typical Unk GM behavior, that's right. All right, Muno, congratulations. I really like these long-term projects. I mean, if you graduate right away, of course, that's great. But, as a fan, I appreciate somebody, maybe it took a while. All right, there's the USCF. You can see there's a staircase that they've been going. It might take a while. Take a while to catch up, but you can tell he's on his path there. Okay, good. So, right, as he's saying, maybe soon he'll be able to transition to making the USCF his default. And we got clubs, maybe at Pacific Northwest, Seattle, very good. Games, and here it is, Laura Evelyn Chad. OTB played at the Seattle Chess Club. Yeah, yesterday we had a guest on the Dojo Pod I am William John Donaldson, a friend of mine, and he grew up there, actually in Tacoma, I think. But he was around, with Sarawan and a couple other guys who were up and coming there in the Seattle area. And I'm just blanking on what they called that club. They had a famous club that they would meet there in Seattle. I'm blanking on the name. Anyways, it's cool to see they're still a Seattle club. All right, so this is Laura, Evelyn, Chad. Do we have a time graph? We do. And Laura, you need to slow down. You need to slow down, lady. Talmudic scholar here kicking back. That's right. Okay, so let's keep that time open because I feel it's very critical, both for both sides. Black is going to take quite a bit of time. Good. All right. So both players playing fine, and it might be a passive move, but it's definitely a fine move. Any move you make that's developing is going to be fine. Poor move. That wasn't it. Knight takes e5. Good move. Now you're up a nice pawn. Fine. I think that's okay. You could have played knight g6, but there's nothing wrong with this d6 move. Okay. Good. Good. Now here's an interesting thing when we talk about evaluation. To me, you're up a pawn, it's at least a clear advantage. At least a clear advantage. But I understand it saves us a small advantage. Good. I like that move. Okay. Good. All right. And now you play d5. Good move. Good move. f4. A little. No, that wasn't it. And now you're going to start wailing on her here. c5. Good move. Knight. Oh, she's just giving you the piece. What are you doing? Thank you very much. Welcome to the dojo. Now that's a lot of arrows. Now, last time I saw this many arrows, it spelled out Aotis's dad. And it took me a second. So maybe this is also spelling something out. And I don't know what it's spelling out. But, that's a lot of arrows there. Good move. That can be bad. Weird. Medium thing. And here's where the trouble begins for Black. I spent more than 8 minutes searching for plans and ideas. Primary motivation was to improve the e8 rook and to over-defend the knight as a prophylactic to the bishop f3 threat. Okay. You talk about bishop c5, bishop f5, bishop f6. Now we're going to say bishop f5 ain't it because you're hanging a piece. Right? So that's important. Bishop f6, you says you didn't see it. Bishop c5, though, is very similar to bishop f6, and we're just fighting for the d4 square. We're up a piece. We're doing great. Right? Okay. Now, bishop h4, it's a weird move, but I still think you're completely winning. All right. f5, poor, allowing your knight a beautiful square. Thank you very much. I don't know. Wow, it's getting really weird. So, one of the things to recognize is at the level you're at, okay? People like this, like Laura, are going to hang pieces. Now, Laura has been deluded into thinking that she needs to learn book moves or something. No, Laura. You need to stop hanging your pieces. That's what you need to do. And when they hang pieces, it's then going to be a key skill for us to calmly consolidate the position and win, mostly by trading stuff off. So bishop g3, even if this worked, I would say it's a bad move. There's no reason to take any risk here. You've got everything. You've got everything in this game. There's no reason to be doing anything fancy. Right? a6, queen d7, something. Like, you got all kinds of moves here. This is too complicated. She takes. Okay. Bishop f5. Okay. Now, knight f5 would be what we're going to call the safe move. Now she's going to give you bishop f4. And you played a6. And where you say you spent half of your remaining time. Okay. Queen h4. I mean, the thing that's weird about when you say you didn't see Queen h4 is when you played Bishop g3 earlier, I don't know what else the intention could be except if you want to try to mate him with Queen h4, right? All right, so a6. Oh, no. Yeah, it's just weird that you do it. It's so weird. Because you got your coconuts are hanging. So bear in mind that it's as old as ever. It has nothing to do with openings or other weird things. You're hanging things. And there's like a lot of coconuts hanging. That bishop on f5 is hanging. Everybody's hanging. And you give this a double question mark, but I think it's already really bad. Maybe Queen f6 or something. It's really bad. I just taken all the coconuts. Check. Oh. Here, Bishop h6 would have been better for Miss Chad, but you know, I guess it's crispy critters over here. Yeah. Oh, David. Yeah, that was rough. Now again, what we want to stress is this is great that you're playing OTB, and just to note that to get to 1,000, it's all about taking the free stuff, consolidating the position, trading everything off. Keep it simple. There's no need to be crazy about it after you win the piece, right? And they will give you the piece. Bid Collins says, I watched a review of Geller's book this morning. I recently finished The Nemesis, which includes the games from the application of chess theory, among others. I particularly like the Grunfeld game against Smyslov and some of the French Tarrasch games he played as white. Cool. Hold on here. Let's look at this. I haven't read that book. Right. So, Geller's Greatest Games. Let's look at this book, actually. So, looks like Agard Quality Chess republished it. Huh. So, you know, the other book that I did it really was a collection of best games. And I guess here we've got several, maybe it's a very similar book. But thank you for telling me about it. I didn't really know about it. They published it supposedly in 2020, but I'm assuming it's a reprint of a Russian book. I didn't know this book that I reviewed as well. I didn't know about it back in the day. It came out in like 82 or something, but I didn't know about it. So, cool. Thank you for turning me on to that. All right. So, I'm going to mark that as reviewed, and we're going to continue here. Next up, we have Blunders Queens. Kraai, it seems like we got a lot today. We're not even close to done. You need to hurry up, buddy. Blunders Queens, here we go. Join the dojo, doing really well. 1,099, so maybe that's close enough. No clubs. Do we got some games? We got some games. This is Tyler versus Daniel here. And first OTB, beautiful. We do have a clock graph. It seems like we're just doing ourselves. Now, that clock graph looks to me like somebody who's first OTB and they're really nervous and they're playing too fast. And here's the key takeaway, take time for each move. Yes, sir. Okay, well said. By the way, a lot of times, well, there's so much to learn from game analysis, but one of the biggest things is just again and again to look at your systematic mistakes. So imagine if you didn't go over your games and you didn't systematically see, oh, I'm going too fast. Then you're just going to make the same mistake again and again. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bitcoin. Yeah. So, bishop b4, bishop d2. This might be an ancient variation. It looks weird, though. Snip. And you got to say snop, I think. I think you got to play snop in 94. So now we're down a pawn. Good. Weird. Not developing. So castles would be our default move as black. Good move. At least the intention is good. Unfortunately, I think a5 is just going to mess with us. But black doesn't see it and plays b6. a4, okay. Good. I like your intention. Okay. Black must get in the way of that diagonal. So got to play something like c5. Okay. Weird. Thank you for developing the knight finally. Queen b3, interesting. I don't think b5 was threatening anything. You could have just played castles or something. So you call this a double question mark, and I guess if b4 is the body blow that it might be. Yeah. So I guess we needed to always say what you should have done. It looks like bishop c5 is what we should have done, and unfortunately for us, that's really a bummer right there, b4. Also, unfortunately, he's not threatening to take yet, but there's nothing we can really do to avoid getting snopped here. That's most unfair. Most unfair. So, some creativity by black. But we got a little something something here. We did get something. Good move. Very strong move by black. Only move. Queen g5, I don't know if that's it. And that's just allowing queen d6. And this is not what we want. We do not want to trade queens. So over here, queen g5 is a good looking move, but it doesn't really do anything. Because queen c5 is not a threat. Trade, now we're toast. Simple chess. Good move. And rook gd8 is a fine looking move, but if he had found e5 dominating our knight, our life would have been far less simple, because that's a great move, and that's a good move. And now we have, at the minimum, we have some compensation for our lost material. All right, big question. So, when you say it's a more solid alternative, what you really need to do is think about it, buddy. But you're playing this instantly. Buddy, you're playing this instantly. What are you doing? This is one of the most complicated decisions I've seen in all of my coconut life. This one's hard, man. I don't know. Oh. All right, so let's talk about the obvious. The A pawn's going to be stopped. And black is going to have the ability to do a thing like knight d7 to c5, where he might just start taking all your coconuts, right? Now, b3, it's still pretty hectic. You know, I don't have any clear answers of what's happening here either. I want to stress, like probably knight a6, and I'm afraid here too. But at the minimum, we need to calculate this thing. We need some ideas. There could be some interesting things happening. All right, c6, knight b8, good move. King f1, and now we're toast. Good move. Oh, very nice. Well played by black. Look at that. Thank you for all your bits. Your bits is gone. Your bits is gone. All right, what's the takeaway? Slow down. Slow down, bud. Blunder's your time. You need to blunder's my clock time. All right, next up is Thomas. Thomas is in the 12 to 1300. Aus Deutschland. Started playing online, a COVID player. Join the local chess club? Brilliant. Germany's got some great chess clubs. I played back in the day. Pfeffenheim. There's the German dojo. So, games. My games. This is him against opponent. Do we have clocks? We do. So, this is an OTB. So first of all, thank you for putting the times in manually. It'll definitely help us. And we're going to leave this open just to see what happened here around move 34, because maybe people stopped thinking. All right. So, boom. So far, so good. Okay. Fine. Fine. You're doing great. All right. First little crisis momentito. You play queen c7. I think that's fine. Notice that you're just developing all your stuff with tempo, so you're doing fine. Now, knight c6. You throw in the Zwischenzug, bishop f4. Looks good to me. And good. bc6. Great. I think you're doing great. So, b3. Maybe, but white really needs to start thinking about that. No, that's just a terrible move. What are we talking about? I would say that's the mistake and not queen b3, right? Because you're taking his stuff. So probably the mundane but sad looking g3 is necessary. You said thank you. And now he plays c4, which is just hanging all his stuff. If we're going to, a variation we should give is queen b7. Now, unfortunately for white, I just castle, and if he takes, I just start wrecking him on the c file. But at least it would be something for us to put in as a variation. All right, so c4, terrible. Castles, great move. The d4 pawn isn't going anywhere. Fine. That wasn't it. Thank you for the pawn. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, sure, trade it off. Fine. Fine. Okay. Thank you. It's just a full show over here. Okay, I'm assuming this is toast. Great. Great. And nota bene, I was going to criticize him, or I thought maybe it would be a thing to criticize him when they got to move 31, and then he's moving without thinking, but the game was totally decided. His opponent could have resigned. That was one of the things the chess bras I kind of took issue with. They're like, even a strong player, you never resign. I'm like, bro, there comes a time and place when you resign. I'll show you one of them. This one. This is one of them right here, buddy. It's time to resign. It's over. Just give up the ghost. All right, here we go. So, next up, we got Moon's Pawn. That's a nice one, Moon's Pawn. Took a break from chess in the last quarter. Made good progress until then. I feel ready to move on to the next court and continue building my chess up. All right, this is Moon's Pawn. Give him a follow here. Doesn't say much. If I click out, yeah, so he was very active in the summer. Took a little break, as he said. Clubs, nothing. Games. There is the Moon's Pawn. Now, this one's kind of old. In general, I don't like to do the older games. But what we're going to say is welcome back to the dojo, Moon's Pawn. And I can see Lee Chess, you probably, you just got back. So we'll get a little bit of work in, get some games, and then hopefully you can graduate again. That's a good question, Alan Chess. Is it Moon's Pawn or Moon Spawn? It might actually be Moon Spawn. The spawn of the moon. All right, this is America SB. And America SB started studying regularly in July 25. He's a wrestling coach and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. This guy's interesting. Okay. Not religiously marking his time. Well, he did a little bit in the summer. I wonder if let's see if there's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club or something. Maybe that might be interesting. That might be interesting. I wonder about when he says wrestling coach. I would be interested in, like, if he's coaching, I don't know, his son's team or something. I was in wrestling as a kid, and it was pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal. But I don't see it now. Like, in the schools, kids, I see around. I'm not seeing anybody, like, on the wrestling team. I don't know if they're not doing it or what. Yeah. Okay. America SB, this is also a game from forever ago. So I'm going to skip this, but I'm hoping to see you again. I would be interested if you could start a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club. The Lifting Heavy Club has the most graduators per capita of any club I know of. So it'd be interesting to see something like that. Also, be interested to hear what being a wrestling coach is like in today's world. It's actually hard for me to imagine. I mean, when I was doing wrestling as a kid, it was a brutal thing, man. Kids were getting whacked, dude. And I just imagine these touchy-feely parents now, and I'm like, I don't know if Hunter or Mason are going to be able to take it when they get a, nose to the mat. I don't know if Hunter or Mason are going to take. C takes B4. He's doing pretty good. Look at that. He's got some clubs going on. He doesn't tell us anything about himself. Here's his My Games. And here he's got one. This is C takes B4 against Shravi. And I love it when the dojo player thinks and the opposing player does not. That's what I like to see. So we'll keep the time open. Okay, classical so far. Little frisky, this F4 move. All right, so now. He is going to take, which seems definitely at least controversial to me. And I also don't know why we don't at least consider taking this way, because then our queen would protect the pawn. You take this way. And now, when he checks, you play knight g3. Okay. So, the reason to think that maybe you're still alive here is you have space and the development is all bad for him. Now, still pretty frightening here. So, queen c2. Whew, we're down 2 pawns. I like this move. Not only are we putting the pawn there, but we're going to maybe give this bishop the business. Good move. Bishop a4. But that was his problem. The bishop had an issue about where to go and what to do in life. That's spicy, knight h5. ef5, that's no bueno. And then I don't understand why you don't take on g7. For sure take on g7, but what are we doing, e6? Do you not like pawns? Did they do something to you? All right, g6. I don't understand this move. Why wouldn't you just take the pawn on e6? I don't get it. Now that's weird because now he's inviting you into f6. And look at this. He's almost made it here. Look at this. Checkmate. King d8. I don't know. He's doing funky things to himself. You take and you say, all right. And then you take this one, fine. You give him a little badooble. And now you play knight h7. But definitely rook h1. I don't know. And I don't understand this move. He needs to be back here. But he can't because of knight e6. Oh no, rook h1, giving him the business. Rook h1, hell of a drug. We needed a variation there, by the way. It would go like this. Rook h1, knight d7, Rook h1. Can he defend with knight f8? I think the answer is no. Check to the miserable king. Oh, baby, I got it all. I got it all. I got it all. All right. So, now, what is true is that we can't accuse you of not using your time because you were. So that part of it's good. Good move. At least it's a good try. Unfortunately, there's that. I don't know. You needed to do something. Check to the miserable king. Thank you very much. Looks to me like you made a little comeback here. Why are we doing that? Wait. Why are we hanging our coconuts? Just play. Move your knight, buddy. Move your knight. What are you doing? Ah! Oh, everything's gone bad now here. Rook f7. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Rook b5. That's a fancy looking move. Let me just say, we're just beginning the fiesta after king takes b5. This looks terrible. Now you got a beautiful discovered check coming up. Was that it? Oh, baby, nice move. Very nice. Very nice. That's c takes b4. He should have let you do that to him after all that. King a6, terrible move. All right, beautiful stuff. Love it that you took your time and your opponent did not, and he loses. You lose. You should have told him that. You lose. All right, next we have W.M. Winfield. Joined the dojo in November and having a group of like-minded individuals to work beside has been nice. This is the first time I have ever done any real game reviews and have not annotated a game until now. It has been extremely helpful to isolate and figure out where my shortcomings are/were. Please review my game with Matthew Lone Wolf. Okay. So, this is W.M. Winfield. Gen X Grandpa. Dang, bro. If he's a grandpa born in 79, dude, he started early. He's got the jump on me, I'll tell you that. Okay, so he's up to 1400 lead chess. His USCF is lagging behind, but maybe he's done less of that. Clubs. Eastern North Carolina Dojos. Okay, great. I think that's a burgeoning chess scene, by the way. There's a couple people out there. All right, games. My games. Oh, he had so many. Wait a second. Matthew Lone Wolf in My Games Lead Chess. Now, my friends, there's got to be a thing called My Games, and you just put it in My Games. All right, I believe it's Matthew the Lone Wolf. Yeah. All right, here we go. Ba-bam. All right, it says time usage was not great. Indeed. Indeed, it was not. Yep. All right. So he says this game is a bit of a pet line when it is pretty booked up in this opening. Oh. Okay. So let's just say this is a real problem. And playing people online, it's going to be harder to slow down. It's going to be harder to slow down because you're going to be distracted by all the stuff, little dings and whistles of the internet, and it's harder. And so that's going to encourage you to be impulsive like here with these time usages. You're playing a very fancy line. This is funny. This is called the Gingy Indian. It was popular back in the day. White has a number of good moves here. Good moves by you so far. That's weird, of course. Not developing. And now you have to retreat or do something. So, one of the things about fancy stuff, okay, is that it's very hard to understand what the ideas are. So, for example, one of the tricky ideas of this whole opening setup, which is definitely, it's debatable, but if you got to understand what the ideas are. And the idea is that this bishop will often, especially if e3 is ever played, have a hard time getting out because this pawn is in the way. In so many positions, it would just be amazing for white if they could give up that pawn. So what happens is here, you blow a tempo here, and then you take his worst piece. Oh no! And now he's going to play e4. He doesn't. He should still play e4. You should have played knight f6. He should still play e4. Oh, and that was a terrible move by him to take the thing. Now you're okay again. You could have left it on a4 for a second. I don't understand e6. e4 is probably reasonable. And now e5. I don't know. All of these are very difficult decisions, by the way. Very difficult. And you're just blasting them. You're just blasting them. Holy moly, he's blasting them too. Oh my God, I don't know. That's feisty, all right. Oh my God, it's so spicy. Interesting. I like it. I mean, it's fun. Good. I like that you didn't play e3, giving him the light squares. I don't know, h3, buddy. You're gonna need a little bit more than that. Great move. Great move. Okay, so first of all, I want to say that the opening did not impress me, and I don't say that to be mean. What I mean by that is, I think it hurt you to know that opening more than it helped you. Because what we need to do is just make good developing moves. Now, the compliment I want to give you is I thought you built up the position very nicely, especially once we got to here. That was good play. That was, I don't know, 1800 level play or whatever you want to call it. That was good. Yeah, bishop h3 and e3, that was beautiful. That was great. So you should feel good about that. So all you got to do is forget openings for a little bit, follow the dojo, and most importantly, use your time. All right, let's continue. We got the famous Represso. Played in my first rated tournament in January, but I still need a few more games to get a non-provisional English Chess Federation rating and switch it to here. Okay. I remember the great Represso. Yep, right. Warwick University. He's either studying, sleeping, or playing chess. And look at this. Ba-bam! The man has been busy, and the man has been progressing. Look at that. 559. Boom. That's a gains, my friend. Those are gains. I think it'd be cool if you put your English Chess Federation thing in here. You don't have to make it your preferred rating. Okay, your tactics. These things look pretty good. And now we got clubs. UK Dojo, makes sense. Games. And here we go. This is the famous Represso against OTB, beautiful. And thank you very much for putting it in. There it is. Okay. A 120 plus 10 increment tournament. Let's keep that open. Beautiful. Beautiful time graph from both players, really. Okay. A little funky, but I understand. Fine. Knight c3 is fine. Little weird. Yeah. Fine. A little frisky, buddy. A little frisky. Yeah. And now you take on d5, and this is a positional mistake. But I understand it's not super easy. You probably felt intimidated by the wild G5 that he's throwing at you. A key idea, too, we should mention is even here, although E3 was unnecessary, you should be thinking about this kind of thing to throw this knight into E5 when you need to. The bishop can operate like a helicopter parent with their son on E5 there. Okay, so the reason this is poor is that we have activated the worst piece, this one right here. Too slow. Okay. A6, probably unnecessary. Knight A4, I don't know. B6, not good. So notice he's throwing himself with G5 and needs to be focusing on mating you while you're going on your little diversion. And Knight D7, it's got to be the right move. Talk about other things, but all right, Bishop B2. It's hard for him actually to move now. You played Knight E5, fine. And you think that's a good idea? Maybe. I love your position here. I still love your position. Now you played F4. This can't be that bad. And Bishop D4 is a very natural move. You could think about H3 here. I don't know what he's doing. H3. Let's get him with the H3. You want to open this baby up. I don't understand. King F2, and I think you're mentioning it. You're thinking about H3. Same idea. Yeah. Now you say it's equal. No, you're still better here. You do need to find the idea, though, of opening the H file. You need to find that idea. And black, for his part, should be thinking about how can I improve my knight. I got to improve my knight. If the knight could get to E6 somehow, maybe that would be a small improvement of his position. I like the Bishop D3 stuff. Okay. I don't understand this move. Now you finally found the idea. Good. 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 Oh. Okay. But the issue to see here is you're not in any rush here. You can do some things before you have to commit to HG or H4 because he's not really doing that much. So this is just a sad move. It's just a sad move. Okay. Now, could black have any dreams now? Now that you've eliminated all of your play, could they have some dreams? Maybe. I think the key goal could be at this point, now that you've released the tension, to maybe try to organize this trade and put the knight on E6. Good move. And now you're preventing that, so that's fine. And now he goes Bishop E6 and offers a draw. No, no need to offer a draw. White isn't doing anything. Okay, but he offers a draw. He says, I can't do it. There could have been a little bit of le message. Le message might have happened if black had come up with something else here. Yeah, I just thought about it a little bit more. White's pieces are kind of nasty here. I'm just thinking a second. Like a basic decision could be Queen F7 with the thought that I'm actually threatening Knight E6 because I can meet Bishop F5 with Knight D4. There's other moves too, but getting the Knight to E6 is just the square the Knight wants to go to. Okay, well done. That's the famous Represso. Eat, sleep, eat, chess, repeat. Very nice. And now we have Ed D. Ed D says, this is the second time moving up to the 15-16. Hopefully I can stay there this time, but I'm almost 64. So at this point, just keeping pace with others isn't bad. And we'll take a look at your game against ES. All right. Beautiful. I'm on the old guy quest myself. I totally get it. Whereas Represso, he's a young man. Now, Ed D, let's check this out. He says he's 64, so he had a birthday after he did this. Mostly plays OTB and NYC. Marshall Chess Club. 1544 USCF, beautiful. Marshall Chess Club. They've got issues over there. We just did this pod, as I mentioned, about 3 hours ago with Don John Donaldson, and he's talking about Fisher, and it's just amazing that so much went down at the Marshall Chess Club, and it's kind of it's definitely falling apart now. I think they're going to move at some point. Manhattan Chess Club no longer exists. In any case, beautiful club. I want to go back before they end it. I have fond memories. All right, so clubs. Now, Ed, maybe you could give us a Marshall Chess Club. That would be good. Look at that, 50 plus 213, and he's part of Lifting Heavy Things. Those people are graduating. I'm going to do a vid on that soon. I think it was ES, if I remember right. There it is, ES. All right, we're going to check out ES. According to my coach, it's one of my best games until I made a mistake on move 50. All right, so here's our time graph. And the first thing we could say is, yeah, you could have used a little bit more time. Even then when you're living on the increment over there. Thank you for putting it in. I realize that's not the easiest thing to do. So we'll mark it, and then we'll go back. Let's just leave that beautiful time graph up for a second. So far, so good. Good. Fine. And bishop f3. Now, even though this is maybe technically a mistake, it is true that you, in general, want to get rid of that bishop. And now, if there's anything that gives us drama, it's knight e5, but you can just play queen c7, so you're doing fine. He says, I'm not interested in queen b7. I don't think he should be. Good. All right. Now we have ourselves a very interesting position. And queen c7 is fine, but what we want to say is, let's talk about the plans for both sides. I'm kind of impressed by rook ae1, by the way, because it shows that white understands what in general they'd like to do, which is to plant this bad boy and maybe play f4 after to get an attack. We might also continue with rook e3. At some point, the queen has to come back to join the attack. Okay, so queen c7, when I think about this in terms of time, I don't like it. Time, I mean tempo. You are going to need to get counterplay on the queen side with some kind of minority attack like b5, b4. So the default move should be either a6 or what I like a little bit better, rook b8. And just as an example, knight e5, probably their best move. We're going to think about b5. Can we do it? Now, maybe we can't, actually. Maybe, because maybe they can play bishop b5. But we can always play a move to, prepare b5. The point is we want to play b4, get a little play. White will eventually build up an attack against us. So we need to do something before we get mated. Okay, so notice, now he's got a nice little spatial thing going over there on the king's side. He says no to knight c5, makes you do this. And now f4. Arguably, they should play queen e2 here so that they can meet knight c5 with moving the bishop back. Queen e2 looks more sensible to me. I think you should go take that bishop with knight c5. Oh, he shouldn't trade for queens. No trade of queens, but white has to try to mate you with things like h4, h5. Poor move. The king, if you're going to play the endgame, the king needs to come up. All right, so basic little mistakes that both sides are making. Bishop c2 makes more sense to control the knight. b5, good move. g4, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know if this is really going to hurt you with this f5 thing. Okay, here he comes. B4, good move. Now, he gets frisky with rook f4. You say, I don't care. And now you play g5. And you talk about knight d7. Good. Notice, he's the one that's all loose. That's why this f5 move, like if he's not going to mate you, he's just created a weakness on e5. That looks good. Reasonable. Interesting. Good. Kind of amazing. And then we have rook c5, which is a little weird. Okay, this is a complicated position, by the way. Now he's cutting you off. Oh, that's a good move. All right, so now he does this. Oh, that's a cold-blooded move there, rook f7. Rook c2. Rook f4, good move on your part. It's the only thing to do. Rook b2, good move. And now, are we totally done? Boom, boom, boom. Good move. Rook b8, rook e5. And you call this equal. Now, maybe it's equal. Maybe. But he does have, his pawns are a little bit further than yours. Now, he gives you the little check. All right. I think he should consider rook d. Well, I don't know. There's a lot to talk about here. By the way, this is where we really need to do some endgame work. There's variations. I'm seeing variations. Okay. There's more. There's a lot to talk about here. Now, rook e4. And right, with e5, you are going to allow king f5. And you mentioned rook e1. Now, that's kind of a hard move to find, honestly. Yeah, that's a little bit of a hard move to find. Also, what we want to say about rook e1 is it's a very frightening thing because you're not threatening anything right now. Or at least e5, king f5 scares me. So I don't know if you're really threatening anything. Now, the good news is white might not be threatening anything either, right? So this is a very natural mistake. King activity is it's what it's all about. King g7. Now, could you still draw this game? Well, that's an interesting question. All right, our basic problem is that g5 is a big threat. That's our big problem. Unfortunately, that's not going to do it for us. He played this well. So notice that white did a couple things well, but didn't really understand the nature of the opening, where he trades off the queens. And then he gives you this weakness on e5 to battle, right? At some level, though, we have to acknowledge this player, this ES person who's rated much higher. I mean, they did find things like bishop h7. So we're dealing with a very skilled opponent. And then this final thing where you played e5, I would say that's a mistake that even a high-level player can make. Right? That's even, like you're in time. You are in time pressure. You did use your time, so was he. And then the key thing if you want to make a learning thing out of it, is that we got to be super careful about king activity here, right? Yeah, hockey chess, dude, I need a break, buddy. I need a break, man. All right, that was the famous Ed D. And next up, we have Tom. We've got a couple here. Tom says, feeling pretty chuffed, having been put in the study time and feel I am playing better. Very happy to have the support that the dojo structure and suggested study provides. All right, we're going to ask AI, because I've heard this before. I just need a little clarification. Origin of chuffed. Where does this word come from, my friends? The evolution of chuffed. The root word is chuff, which was a derogatory term for a puffed up or swollen person. 19th century displeasure, and then the modern flip happens in the 1950s in the British military and Northern English dialect. Instead of being puffed up with rage, it came to be meaning being puffed up with pride or satisfaction. Linguists believe the shift happened because puffing out one's chest can represent two very different emotions, anger and or pride. If you tell someone in the UK you are chuffed, then they know you're happy. Okay. A lot of times I go on little rabbit hole things and they're dumb. But we got to say that was one of the best rabbit holes that Krai's ever been on. Right? That was one of the best. All right, Tom's feeling chuffed. Is he from the UK? New Zealand. That probably got a little UK influence. He's doing great with the heat map. Like me, he took a break in the holidays. So, 1502, beautiful. Clubs. Now, Tom, request, can we get a New Zealand dojo? New Zealand, that sounds good to me, Tom. All right, here's my games. Oh my God, there's so many. Why can't we just have a my games? So, this is a recent one here. And I believe we're dealing with Karanga. And this guy, Baranesh, Juan, is somebody I know. He is in our game and profile review class. Great guy. I love that guy. Here we got some time graph. They're both doing pretty good. So let's mark this as reviewed. Maybe if you can tell Juan, if you know him, you'd be like, hey, Juan, Jesse reviewed our game. That's right. It's Talkie Chess, dude. All right. So far, so good. Little frisky, but I don't mind. You're doing great. C4, maybe. You know I don't like it. You know I want you to play bishop e7. Okay, interesting. Interesting. I like your move. That's a little too much, isn't it? All right, EF5. It makes sense that Juan wants to keep the bishop on h2 open. And now, please don't let Lee Chess tell you things like inaccuracy, knight f6 was best. Please put it on a setting where you don't have to hear that all the time. All right, very interesting position. All right, knight d7. I still like your position, I want to say. Bishop h4 is a little weird to me. Bishop d6 makes some sense. f5 makes some sense. Okay. Now this whole inaccuracy thing doesn't help me. I don't know if it helps you either, because c takes is a very human move to do. That's also a very human move. So the Lee Chess thing is killing you. It's killing you. Queen d2. Queen d5. I don't know about queen b4. That looks frisky. Now you're downtown, as they say. Rook c6. Now you're not downtown. Oh, Juan, what are you doing, buddy? All right, he's talking about rook f7, all kinds of stuff. That's a very human move you just made. Bishop e5. A very human move. Gf5 is not a human move because it's allowing the G file to open, which scares at least the chumps in the audience. And now he blunders this. Very important pawn you're winning there. That's another one. Now you're about to play e3. Snip. And e3, there it is. e3. By the way, that's a good example of a mating pattern, right? Where we're covering this square and unleashing the beast. Yeah, these people have lost their mind here. Good move. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's over. Okay, so well played. Juan is a tough opponent and a very rich middle game. And I want to stress, it would help you a lot to turn off the Lichess automatic annotations. I want to stress, when I tell people not to analyze with the engine, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying do your own analysis first. Don't let the engine tell you what to think of the game. There was a lot of things there that the engine was saying things, and I was like, no, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, right? Okay, here we go. Ah, made in 35. It's like he gave it to me here too. Here we go. We got a novel, then we got Blind Bandit, and then we got Sangan, and we're out of here. So here we go. I recently graduated and wrote a long essay. So I'll write another one this time. No, that's not what he said. This is graduation number 9 for me. Has anyone ever hit 10? That's a good question. One of the things that I want is, we have so many dojo projects, but I want to be able to see how many actually badges people have on these, because there's a lot of people who have 3+, like you. And so I want to know, yeah. This is amazing, though, that you've done what you've done. Hoping to be one of the first. The last 4 months have been nothing but good to me in terms of chess. I'm playing well and loving the game. I'm all but guaranteed to cross the German 1500 after this league season. The Yusupov Build Up Your Chess book has been my favorite resource lately. I would honestly recommend the fundamentals as a dojo task. Goals going forward: get better at d4, d5. I do feel it's holding me back a bit. I score so poorly against the Queen's Gambit. Play more classical, work on endgames. I think there's a lot of rating to be gained by knowing how to put pressure in an equal endgame, and I've never really given it enough attention. Okay, we're going to take a look at this game. Just put that, a little grab, and we're going to hit the maiden 35. And as you can see, this man, boom, he's been busy. So, he's from Texas, lived in Germany for about 5 years, became obsessed in January 24. So that's amazing that you're doing that right there. That's amazing that you've done what you've done. Mm-hmm. And Germany's a great place to play in the league. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to take a break. I'm coming right back, and then we're going to finish this show. All right, my friends, who needs a nap? This grandpa needs a nap, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that this grandpa's the one that needs a nap. And I've been here too long. This is mate in 35, and he has a game for me to look at. So here we go. Has he been the first to graduate 9 or 10 times? Probably. He's definitely 9. I can't imagine somebody more than 9 times. It's just extraordinary. Here we have a time graph, and look at that. The non-dojo player getting whacked because they didn't use their time. You know? Getting whacked. Let's leave it out there so this person can feel the shame. All right. So hopefully they get whacked. All right. So a little funky of an opening. Good move. And you go back to F3. Seems like you have many good moves here. Bishop E3, it's to me the most natural. This one, just want to say you've lost a tempo. You're still doing great, though. A little frisky because he's losing time. And now knight D4, you were also losing time. Knight E5 would be more natural. Fine. Now, we're going to wonder about F4. I'm assuming on F4 the guy can get away with knight G4. That's just an assumption. I don't know if that's quite true. King H1 looks like a good move too. All right, here we go. Knight A4. Maybe okay. I see there's point to this. And now you play A3. That F4 looks like a great position for you. F4 still looks like a nice position. Okay, I agree with you. Don't allow knight F4. B5 is a weird move because your knight on A4 is fundamentally misplaced. Now that's weird. That's weird, buddy. That's a poor move. Knight takes E2. There's no reason to ever take that bishop when your knight is so amazing on E2. And what is he going to do? He's going to envelop your queen. I hope you said thank you when he did it. Bishop D7. Now you play A4. Okay. Rook AD1 also looks good. Now, why don't I like this? Well, because maybe you could have played F4, and now on knight C4, you're going to have to probably play bishop C1 anyway. He's getting very frisky. I didn't like your knight B3. I didn't understand what we were doing. Okay, good play by black. Good play by black. And now we don't know what we're doing. Knight F1. Oh, it's just getting grosser and grosser. Oh. All right, so what happened was you let your pieces get all mixed up. Oh, man. And what's worse is this guy wasn't even thinking mate in 35. This chump you were playing wasn't even thinking. All right, so one of the things I want you to think about here is in this game, you lost time consistently. And one of the things we tell the lower rated players is when we're under 1,000, what we're doing with learning how to develop is ultimately learning how to activate our pieces, right? So let's count it out. Black has lost some time, of course, right? All right, here's a tempo loss. That's the first one. Tempo loss, that's the second one. Arguably a tempo loss because the knight has to come back. The argument for doing this, though, is to play F4 and undevelop the black knight on E5, but you didn't end up doing that. Right now it gets weirder and weirder. So notice now that the knight on A4 is out, the bishop on B2 is out. He helps you by coming back. I don't know, a lot tempo loss. And probably it's just a lost position for you here, but he helps you develop. He helps you develop. Put your rook on D1. Rook D1. AD1. And here he just starts mauling you, but you're just playing passive here. Knight F1. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Okay, so one of the things to see there, mate in 35, is you're not hanging pieces. You're hanging tempi. And that's going to be one of the biggest ways in which you can beat your opponents, because they're going to also hang tempi. And just a simple way for you to improve. Okay, nice cat. Sorry I didn't say hello earlier. Oh, I've got so much going on. And you know what I just did? I did a little minor boo-boo. I can fix it. Next up, we got the Blind Bandit, though. And the Blind Bandit is a cool dude. We are hoping that the Blind Bandit wins the U.S. Blind Championship sometime soon. And, yeah, this is looking good. Now, if I remember right, I might be hallucinating this, but I thought earlier there was a thing in here from Blind Bandit saying that he felt like an imposter syndrome or something going up to 1900. Now, whatever that may be, some interesting stuff is going on with the Blind Bandit. So we've got a Chesscom Rapid of 2207, which comes to a dojo of 1938. Then we've got a USCF, which is dramatically lower. Now, I can explain this. Because dude is blind. Because dude is blinded. He hasn't figured out the OTB situation yet. And at the first tournament he played in, they were kind of mean to him. They were like, you can't be using a set and all this other stuff. In any case, when he's playing online, he's got like the thing right up next to his face. And it's hard to imagine. very difficult. My eyes hurt right now, and I've been doing this forever, and I would not want the screen any closer to my face. That's why I've assumed the grandpa position that I'm currently in. So, Blind Bandit's got a quest, and part of the difficulty of the quest that he's on, and I did a video about this called The Trap of the 2100 ChessCom, is at 2200 ChessCom, you're going to play loads of cheaters, especially the longer games. It's just going to be, oh my God, very distressing. So at some point, dude needs to transition to either playing all the dojo, like with the other dojo players. Obviously, doing some OTB stuff is great. And the big one for me is I want to see him crush the U.S. Blind Championship. I think that woman, Jessica Lauser, it's time for her to go. It's time for the reign of the Blind Bandit to begin. You know what I'm saying? It's Blind Bandit's turn. All right, let's go take a look at one of his games here. RVA Pieces Ladder. Okay. So here we go. This is Zach. So this is the RVA Pieces Ladder, which I don't... Okay, I think I know what that means. The RVA, R stands for Richmond, and I know he's down there in Richmond. We don't have times. Let's put it in the game review template. And here we go. Fine. Fine. Very nice move, D4. I'd like to claim me as the originator of this move. I played this against Kavutskiy in the first game that he played after his semi-retirement in U.S. Championship 2004. And the old-timers would always play D3 here. Like Fischer Taimanov, there was a game that went like that. D4, you are potentially sacking a pawn on D4. So now, Queen B6, he likes it a lot. I think Bishop D3, you have very nice compensation. Part of the idea of D4 is that you are willing to sacrifice a pawn just to get the bishops rolling. Right? Really don't like ED5. The other move you could have played is the basic Queen D3, just holding onto your pawn if you didn't like it. Because ED5 is going to create a more blockaded, is that okay to say? A more blockaded structure, which is going to be easier for his knights to play with. All right, check. I don't really like it. Now, curiously to me, you did all this so that you wouldn't gambit the pawn, right? But here you are gambiting the pawn. All right, here we go. Okay. Fine. A little weird. Okay. 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 All right, so we're a little worse, but our life isn't over yet. Now, we need a plan, or it'd be nice to have a plan. It's not easy. It's a hard position, honestly. You're not lost or anything, but it's just a little uncomfortable. All right, let's try your move. The thing I don't like... Okay, so what do I want? I want to find something for the knight to do. Maybe a reasonable plan. It's not the greatest. I don't know. We gotta fix the knight, right? So maybe something like Queen D2 followed by Knight F4 to D3. Oh, I don't know. It's hard. Okay, we're fixing the knight. I like that. Good move. Good move. I think he's blowing it here. So, Farsi Plays Chess, thank you. Thank you for rating us. This is the Chess Dojo Training Program, and we're looking at people who've graduated to the next level. And right now, in front of us, we have the future blind champion of the United States playing the white pieces. All right, rook c5. And now we really blundered it here with b4. Now, it's still not an easy position, there's no doubt. But this first variation, knight d3, rook moves somewhere, cd5 has got to be our first Kostya. I don't think we're worse anymore after that. And we definitely want to talk about this. Did we just blunder something? It looks like we just blundered something. Blundered the c file, too. That doesn't help our cause. Toast. Dang. Dang, toast. Okay. I'm sure Nick was bummed out about that game. So remember, though, what you're looking at is you're looking at a very talented player who's playing blind, dude. You don't have no eyes on the situation. There's no eyes on the situation. But he's going to win this game, so we got to go a little further here. How did that happen? I was ready to call it. Black doesn't appreciate their own activity. Just moving around and around. That's called a pass pawn, son. Okay. Oh, it's almost welcome to the dojo time here. Very nice. Good. No. Thank you very much. And I think it's already lost. Right around here, it's already toast. The guy completely let himself get hosinated. Queen b8, d6, very nice move. Typical queen pawn endgame. It's not the number of pawns, it's the number of pass pawns and how far they are. Welcome to the dojo. I hope that's what you told him, Nick. I hope you gave him a nice, solid welcome to the dojo. Yeah. Well, that's good that you beat this guy. Great. Great. And I assume that's OTB. You know, you're going to slowly advance that OTB rating. Okay. I'm fading. We're about to do Sangen here. And Sangen says, I've been above 2100 before. Farsi plays chess, raids me again, I guess. I don't know. But after a slump, I fell down to 2,000. Now I'm back and I feel good. I'm ready to make what it takes. Ready to make what it takes to get to the next level. All right, I do remember Sangen here. So, he's back over 2,100 feet, eh? Great. And joined way back in the day, but has been only sporadically logging his business here. Great. Okay. So, clubs. He's in the Danish dojo. Now I wondered, do they know about Americans calling the Danish little thing? I don't know. A Danish is called ein Wienerbrot. See, there you go. There you go. They don't even call it a Danish. Bandit said, no, the first thing I did after this game was change my pants. What? All right, here we go. Oh, here's my games from Sangen. He's got some great OTB games. Look at this. This is clearly an OTB, maybe in some kind of Danish league. Yep, it's the Bros versus the CXU club over there. Played at the end of last year, but just annotated now. Great. No times. Of course, we encourage you to do the times, but I understand it's a little hard. Yeah, he said he lost the score sheet, so he doesn't have move times. All right, so far so good. There's nothing wrong with bishop g5. That's the frisky move, bishop h4. Now, one of the things I want to say about this is before computers, I think bishop h4 would just be like you'd say that's the most challenging move. Now with computers, what they've basically shown is like, oh, it's a problem, bishop h4. So good move, little passive e3, and now b5, and yeah, black's better. bishop b7. Good move. Good move. Good move. Simple chess. All right, and now we're going to make our life easy, and we're going to say, bang, good move. Good move. And now he's got to do that, unfortunately. And now we win another one. He does get to do this to us, but he's down a full coconut. Okay, so let's call this a typical-ish ending for this opening, the Rogozin. And you played king e7. Now, what worries me about king e7 is what you wrote in your notes with bishop f3. I've really fallen off to the side, the Unk GM. I'm really just in the corner, aren't I? So the move to consider here, I think, of course, is c5. c5 is the move for us to consider. Now, for sure, bishop f3, for sure. Bishop f4 makes no sense. c5, okay. And you talk about rook gd8. C5, I just want to say, I am fundamentally approve. But what are we saying about this? If bishop h6, then c3 is what he wants to do. Maybe. This looks a little computery. It's a little computery. Your c5 move looks like a very human move. And g3 isn't it. f3, you got to play f3. But black is better. You got a nice position. How can we complain? Terrible move, g3. All right, now rook g6, and you talk about c3. Okay. The thing I want you to see about rook g6 that's problematic is the rook is passive there. That's the problem. This is too much for me. Notice that you talk about rook gg8, admitting the mistake. Good, good. Good notes. That looks like a cheapo. And that would look like desperation to get out of dodge. It looks okay, good move. King g6. Why can't we just play AB like a normal person? Dang, look at this. Bang, bang, bang. Is it hot? It's very hot. Bishop g4. So you've got g4 listed here. e4 maybe too. Okay, so that I don't even. I guess he wants bishop c8, but you're going to have time to stop it. And now he misses your intention. But by the way, I don't know what else he's going to do. I mean, that was his whole thing with bishop c8, right? Yeah, look at that poor dude. He ain't doing nothing now. All right, he should resign. Great game, Gregor. Great game. I'm going to come back. Oh, that was a long stream, man. That was 2.5 hours long. A lot of people abandoned us too, Blind Bandit. A lot of people were like, "Cry, I can't take anymore. I got a life to lead. I got to do stuff." All right, my friends, I'm going to abandon you all at this point. I'm going to do abandonnement, and we're going to raid somebody here. Who are we going to raid? I don't know. Let's raid the famous, actually I was going to read Zefcat, but we're going to raid the famous I Am Rosen, friend of the dojo. We'll see what he's been doing. And I'm back here on Wednesday. If you haven't known what this is about, this is a dojo training program. You can join. We got these beautiful live classes too with lectures and the game and profile review where we do a much deeper dive than the kind of shorthand that I do here on the graduation show. But you can see I did 2.5 hours, my friend. 2.5 hours. All right, bye everybody.